So who'd you grow up with?
Who did I grow up with?
Yeah.
You mean friend or family?
Family.
Family? I grew up with my mother and father until I was 10 years old. And then I had a baby brother.
What was his name?
And his name was William.
And then what?
And I lived with my family on Princeton Boulevard in Lowell until I was 19. And I went into the service, in the Navy, 4 years. Before that, I was in the Naval Reserve for 3 years. And after I got out of the Navy, I lived with my family for 2 years. And then I got married Mary Peters. I've been living with her ever since. And that's over 50 some odd years. Had 4 children. Deborah, Robert, William, and James. Now they're all married and gone, not too far. I still see them.
So what was it like growing up in Lowell?
Well, I grew up during the Depression, and things weren't too great, but we got by. We put a lot of cardboard in the bottom of our shoes.
Where was your mother from?
My mother was from Chelmsford, Massachusetts. My father was from Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Where did your grandparents on both sides come from?
My father's father's parents came from England. I don't know where, but somewhere in England. And my mother's grandparents came from Sweden, and I don't know where. That's about all I can tell you.
So did you have lots of cousins?
I didn't have, I think I had 3 cousins. 2 lived out of state, and 1 lived in Lowell until I was probably 15 years old. After that, I started having more cousins, and I ended up with quite a few. But I was like 15 years older than most of them. I worked in a shoe shop, cutting inner soles. I worked in a wood factory making card tables and chairs. I worked in a mill as a bobbin boy. And I also worked bottling spring water before I went in the service. After that, I started to work with my dad reupholstering furniture. And that stayed with me until I was 75 years old.
So when did you start being an upholsterer?
When I was 25 years old.
So you did it for 50 years.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so
It was the Middlesex County Training School. It was always a threat to all the boys in the neighborhood, and if they didn't behave, that's where they'd end up. And it was quite a thing. It was, I don't know how many hundred boys were there, but they were well behaved and well worked. And we never ended up there. Why we didn't, I don't know.
so they used that as a threat to keep you in line.
Yeah.
So maybe what kind of traditions did you do? Hunting, fishing, family stuff?
The only traditions were I did was hunting and fishing, and the family stuff was tradition was being together on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
So opening day for fishing every year was something you did?
Yes, we did it every year. And I did it until I was 80 years old.
And then on your hunting trips, you had traditional hunting trips you'd go on?
Every year we went somewhere. We went to New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, Pennsylvania. We all had our hunting trips.
Who were some of your buddies that you went on these trips with?
Well, Frank Dupress, Earl Thoreau, Jimmy Hadley, Bob Hadley, I guess I had an automobile that my parents didn't have.
So they always had a horse and buggy or a horse?
No, they rode the bus.
They rode the bus. So they took the public transportation.
Yeah. All the electronics. I don't know what else.
All the electronics, computers, TVs.
We didn't even have a pop-up toaster.
You had to cook your toast on the fire.
Yeah.
So a microwave must have been quite the thing.
Yeah, it still is. My advice for my grandchildren is do your thing, whatever it be. Stay out of trouble and be happy.